Hi there everyone, Coach Don here with a recap of last Saturday's 28-Day Nutrition Challenge seminar. So I'm going to try and give you a slightly more condensed version of the seminar while still touching on all the main points. Looking at it from a big picture standpoint, I walked the group through the 28-Day Challenge packet. We began by covering SMART goals, standing for specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time sensitive. We talked about some goals. We did some goal setting, putting a lot of emphasis on making sure that we have one nutrition goal as well as one performance goal that's sort of born out of what we want to accomplish here in the gym. We took some time to plan those goals as a group as well as sharing them. We then moved on to covering macronutrients, starting with carbohydrates, reminding everyone that carbohydrates should comprise about 40% of our diet. Carbohydrates are sort of divided up into two different categories of fiber. There's non-soluble and there's soluble and insoluble fibers. Insoluble fiber being just what its name means, that it's not absorbed in water. And these things are sort of like our roughage, sort of like seeds and the skins of like celeries and carrots and things like that. That don't really get absorbed in the lining of the intestine. And then there are things like soluble fibers that come from refined grains and things like that, that the nutrients are allowed to get absorbed in the lining of our intestines. We want to make sure that at least a half of our plate are non-starchy carbohydrates, for example, like broccoli, carrots, asparagus, cauliflower, a fourth of the plate being also consisting of complex starches like fruits, brown rice, quinoa, and things like that, and always remembering to have carbohydrates in moderation. Proteins was the next macronutrient we moved on to, really aiming to have proteins make up about 30% of our diet. Proteins contain all the essential amino acids. Essential amino acids are basically aminos that can't be made in our body, and so we otherwise have to get them from food. We want to sort of trend towards lean proteins, having good sources of proteins that don't, if we're on a vegetarian diet or a vegan diet, like pairing protein and carbohydrate sources that give us the essential amino acids. For example, beans and rice or quinoa and other plant-based proteins. Then we talked about fat. We sort of dispelled a couple of myths about fat and really touch on the fact that healthy fats are the best way for us to go. Healthy fats come in the form of avocados, walnuts, nut butter, seeds, and things like that. We also talked about omega-3 fatty acids. There's a recommendation posted to the 28-Day Challenge Facebook group for those of you who are a part of it. So go in there and look. We put a recommendation up there. It is a liquid form, although some people may be accustomed to the pill. To the pill form, we find that these to be a little bulky and otherwise a little more difficult. But go ahead and try the recommendation that we have up on the Facebook group. The next topic we covered is hydration. We're aiming to get about 80 plus ounces of water a day. And this is also recorded on the tracking sheet that we gave you during the seminar. We looked at the plate method, talking about how half your plate should be non-starchy vegetables, again, broccoli, cauliflower, asparagus, things of that sort. And then a fourth of the plate should be lean meats, chicken breast, fish, turkey, or if you're a vegetarian, having lots of soy protein, really good, complex, and lean proteins. And then complex carbohydrates would make up the other fourth of the plate. Things like sweet potatoes, brown rice, butternut squash. Interpreting the meal plan. So everyone got a copy of 4 weeks worth of meal plans as well as a grocery shopping list. And the meal plan is pretty self-explanatory, with the exception that there are ranges on the meal plan, with the ranges being geared towards women looking to lose weight. They should probably stick with the portion size on the low end of the ranges, while women looking to improve their performance and gain muscle and as well as men looking to lose weight should stick with the middle set of ranges. Men looking to improve performance should focus on the high end of the ranges. The recipes that are denoted with a triple asterisk means that the recipe is on the website, healthystepnutrition.com. And you can also log your food in MyFitnessPal and make sure that you remember that all the portion size on the meal plan are interpreted as cooked. When it comes to moving things around on the meal plan, we generally advise against that. But if you are going to move things, make sure that you don't sort of substitute meals for different times of the day. For example, try not to have a breakfast for lunch or a lunch for dinner, just because the way the carbohydrates and the calories are sort of allocated. It's a trend towards having more calories and carbohydrates during breakfast and lunch and things like that, because they're sort of spent and burned off throughout the day, whereas dinner is a little bit light on the calories and carbohydrates. When it comes to meal prepping, we really advocate it. It's probably one of the best things we can do and to ensure our success throughout the 28-day challenge. We also touched on consistency, making sure that we're eating every 3 hours a day and that we're tracking. We gave some tips like setting a timer if you tend to be a person that gets off track. When it comes to hydration, we found that people who drink water out of a water bottle with a straw often drink a lot more water. So for the challenge, if that's one of your goals, it actually might serve you best to grab a water bottle that has a straw attached to it. Definitely trying to stay away from sugary drinks or sodas, especially diet sodas and things like that. And if you want to infuse flavor with your water, opting for things like fresh fruit, mint, or cucumber. These are like add some flavor as well as like some refreshing nature to the drinks as well, without adding any, if only a few calories. Alcohol was another thing we talked about. Gonna just advocate abstaining at least for the duration of the 28-day challenge, and then easing back if it has to be a staple in your life, sort of easing back into it after the challenge and things like that, but opting for like maybe 1 glass of wine or a light beer, or just having if you're gonna have a spirit, just having it neat or over ice, because often the sodas and juices that we add to it are where we rack up a lot of the empty calories. And just trying to drink water in between each of the alcoholic drinks. For our morning warriors, we talked about some strategies to make sure that you're fueling up around workouts, right? I know some people find it really difficult to have a full breakfast right before a workout, especially if we're working out at 6 a.m. So really just trying to get something like a smoothie, something that digests really fast into your body before your workout, and then having the breakfast that's prescribed on the meal plan after your workout. So some people might think of having the snack before their workout and then having the breakfast after, sort of your post-workout nutrition. We talked about a couple of different whey protein or plant protein based recovery shakes as well. Coffee, when it comes to coffee, just make sure that you're not adding a lot of sugar. Opt for things that are a little bit more natural and lighter on the sugar. For example, stevia, which is a natural sweetener because it comes from a plant, or something like the Better Half, which is a mixture of almond milk and coconut cream. Finally, making sure that you're really catching some sleep, because sleep does affect so much of what causes some people to hold on to weight and allows others to lose it. Sleep deprivation affects your hormones like leptin, which is the satiation hormone, ghrelin, which makes you hungry, and cortisol, which is the stress hormone. So making sure that you're really prioritizing 6+ hours of fitless sleep is really going to ensure like your success throughout this challenge. And finally, picking the winner. So the winner is really chosen from basically a combination of who's following the plan the best, and as well as who's losing the highest percentage of body fat. All right, so it wouldn't necessarily be the person who's lost the highest percentage of body fat but didn't track anything. We really want to reward people for sticking to the plan as close as possible. If you have any questions, I'm going to be having nutrition office hours here moving forward on Fridays from 7 to 8, as well as Saturday from 10 a.m. to 12 in the afternoon. And feel free to reach out to me through the Facebook group or through email, or stop me here around the gym. And I look forward to working with all of you. Have a great weekend, and let the challenge begin.